Hello, family. It's very nice to be here with you. I'm Glacia, intuitive life coach and Ascension guide. And I've been struggling a bit with my tech. I just want to take a little bit of time here at the beginning to let you know what I've been up to. But I've been struggling with my tech. I had to have my computer completely reset, and I lost a lot of things on it. I did have backup, but somehow my backup was also turned off, which is really bizarre. But anyway, so I did lose some things, and then I have some things on an external hard drive that I'm kind of going through and getting back onto my computer again. So I've also been working on a very special project with a company that I'm not going to mention who yet. This is a surprise project. Very few of you know about this. I've shared a tiny bit about what I'm up to. So it's been taking some of my time, but I'm really excited to share that with you as well. And what I really want to get into today is to talk about this big transformation that a lot of people are in. And I've been in one of the biggest transformations of my life. Almost changing my identity daily, it feels like, not on purpose, but it's just I wake up and I feel very different. So, I want to talk about some of the symptoms associated with this last shift that we went through and are still currently undergoing, and why this is happening to us right now. A lot of people want to know about the ascension symptoms, but then they get really uncomfortable when I start talking about what actually causes these ascension symptoms. So, there's a variety of different things that actually cause the ascension symptoms. It's not like it's just one thing, but some of them are disturbing. They are. So, with this major transformation, one of the symptoms is feeling lost. So, feeling like you're drifting, feeling like you're unsure of your direction. So, it's kind of a loss of direction in your life. And it can be where, before October. So, this transformation that we've been in really started at the end of September, and it peaked around December 21st. Okay. And it's still continuing now. You can still feel it and see it for sure. But that loss of direction can seem like it almost came out of nowhere, where things are progressing along fine in your life, and maybe you have a practice or a coaching practice or healing practice or something like that, or work for yourself or even work for others. Things are progressing along just fine, and then you notice things start to shift, and what you normally do is no longer working, and the environment that you're in no longer feels like the right place to be. Many of you have left your jobs recently because of this very thing. You just feel like it's not the right thing to do. Um, so, one of these symptoms, so feeling lost, a loss of a direction, and then also feeling very unwilling to just go along with the status quo. That's like the daily grind of get up, go to work, pay your bills, come home, brush your teeth, go to bed, eat some food, of course, in there somewhere. And then you just wash, rinse, repeat, basically the same thing every single day. And for many people who are just paying rent, they're buying somebody else's home for them, essentially, just spinning your wheels, paying rent and not getting anything for it, really. A lot of people are like, okay, I need out of the city. I need to get into a sustainable living situation. I want to eat healthier, and I want to quit my corporate job. So, my friends, this is a really good sign. This is the New Earth template being activated within you. So, I did a video years ago on the New Earth template, which I think is still up. I have hundreds of videos, but I've removed a lot of them just to really keep things relevant and not really repetitious either. But so the New Earth template is all about living with the earth, living sustainably, living symbiotically, not just with the planet, but with each other as well, and within whatever environment we're in. And so the New Earth template is becoming active within a lot of people, and that is partially because we just brought the template of the divine feminine back into our operating system as a whole. And when I say operating system, I'm referring to our organic grid, our entire system here that is operating organically. Okay. Um, so, another one of the symptoms is feeling cut off from your usual guidance. So, for those of you who are familiar with the sovereignty work that I teach about, you know that spirit guides, well, maybe you don't, but spirit guides often are imposter spirits, or they are just disembodied human beings with human consciousness. And so if you're basing your life choices on spirit guidance, you're going to get a very mixed bag in your experience, because those beings often either have their own agenda or um, really don't have higher consciousness than you. So it'd be like asking some random person on the stranger about very important life choices. So spirit guides and guardian angels often are scripters. So a scripter is a clone based entity that will attach at the back head chakra and give you your life role. Everybody has one of these when they're born, because we're in a hijacked incarnation grid. I'm not going to go too deep into that stuff on my YouTube channel, because it gets scary for people, and I don't ever want to scare anybody, but I want to share what is actually happening so you know what you're working with here. So, being cut off from your usual guidance. Your guidance really needs to be your higher self and your source avatar, so your highest self, okay? And that means in this 12th dimensional, we actually have a 15th dimensional grid, but 12 dimensions have some sort of form to them, right? Physical form, whether it's energetic, etheric, or whatever. There's still some sort of form, not just pure consciousness, right? Which you are above 12th dimension. So, in this 12th dimensional grid system we have here, it's really important to get your information from the beings that are either your star family or soul family, which means the planet that you originated on first, those beings, or the beings that you are part of the soul lineage, you share soul lineage with, right? Now, it's been brought to my attention that some of our higher aspects are actually hijacked, because there is, how I say in some of my videos, it's not like fifth dimension is the destination, because it's not. We're going multidimensional. And so fifth dimension is not the destination. Neither is sixth or seventh or eighth or ninth, So all of those have levels of deception and mind control and hijacked consciousness. And so when we're getting our information, it's important, number one, to not really get it from channeled sources. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about channeled messages, other than they can be from imposter spirits or entities that pretend to be on your side. So unless you have direct experiences with these beings, they can mislead you very easily and put you on an artificial or synthetic AI timeline, which is what we are trying to get off of and out of right now with this timeline convergence. We don't want to open up any more synthetic timelines or go down synthetic timelines, because those are really run with the AI coding, which is what you can see in humanity right now when people start really getting into their devices and they go for their device over and over and over without it even alerting them. They're being trained to really get sucked into that system. That's a different topic as well. I'm not going to get off on that topic either. So, with your guidance, the reason that you feel cut off is because you really need to go through this phase of tuning into your inner knowing and inner awareness. You're not actually cut off of your physical or your guidance, okay? You're never cut off from your higher self, ever. You could never be cut off from your higher self. You could be in doubt that that's the voice that you have communication with. You could also be in unawareness, or you can, with the unawareness, a lot of people, when I talk with them in the sessions, and I mention what their higher self is saying, they'll say, "Oh, I heard that recently," or I felt that. That was one of my inner guidance messages." And that's exactly right. Your higher self is communicating with you a lot, and some of you may not even know that's the voice that you're hearing. We also have the ego. The ego and the higher self have very different voices and speak very differently to you, okay? But if you're feeling cut off from your usual guidance, the grid work that's being done by a lot of the planetary grid workers, both physical and non-physical, are making such significant changes that it's taking part of this old grid offline, and you're no longer having the frequency broadcasts, or not as many of them that were there before. Okay, so some of this chatter that was coming in as guidance may not have really been guidance. Okay, it may have been interference more. So with also with your guidance, we go through these periods, and I like to compare it to being in school. So when you're in school and you're learning the lesson, you can ask the teacher questions. But when it's time to take the test, you don't get to ask questions. You have to demonstrate what you know. Now, it's not like there's a group of beings like, oh, are they going to pass their test or not? They can't come in if they don't pass their test. It's not like that. It's your soul determining if you're done with that lesson, if you're competent in that. Have you demonstrated mastery level in whatever lesson you're in? If not, don't worry. It'll repeat itself again and again and again and again and again until you do get mastery with it. But in the meantime, if you feel cut off, that it can be because you're in one of your own testing periods to demonstrate your competence with this level of consciousness and awareness. Okay, so go deep within. Every answer you need is within. You can go into your heart space, into your high heart chakra, and really get deep in there and listen. And even though there are things like holographic inserts and a lot of different things to confuse us, at the depth of our being, we know our truth and our essence. Each of us does, and we each have the ability to get quiet and get in there. But the ego will throw a fit. If you have entities attached to you, they'll throw a fit. They'll distract you and disrupt you. Interdimensional and extra-dimensional beings can also use other people as distractions to come in and distract you, which is kind of what I want to get into a little bit. I'm not trying to make this video super long, but I can go on and on for days about this stuff. So, well, I'll finish this. So, feeling cut off from your friends, feeling a loss of friends, job, home, car, or generally a loss of security. So, these are all symptoms of this major transformation. Now, what is this major transformation? It's from old grid to new grid. It's from being asleep to awakened. It's from the old earth reality into the new earth template. So, this isn't just some small shift we're in right now. This is gargantuan. This is one of the biggest shifts we have been in. And you're feeling it for sure. The pushback from the systems of domination and control is absolutely ridiculous in the frequency attacks and the electronic harassment. And when people start waking up, these systems of domination and control start freaking out and putting people back to sleep through frequency attacks and frequency broadcasts. A frequency broadcast is when the information is being sent out almost just like a Wi-Fi signal, and anybody that picks up on it picks up on it. Very similar to tuning your radio to a certain station, and everyone tuned to that station hears the same broadcast. So if they're saying something on that station in the broadcast, everyone believes it as true, right? So everyone getting that invisible frequency broadcast is buying into whatever the broadcast is. And sometimes it's to be really docile. Sometimes it's to be aggressive, fight or flight. Sometimes it's to feel hopelessness. You know, a lot of you have been in and out of hopelessness and feeling like you're drifting, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to be of greatest service. I don't know where I fit. Where do I belong here? Do I even belong here? So that's where a lot of you have been in this. That's why I'm even making this video right now, to help you know that you're actually in one of the biggest spiritual awakenings. Now, this is when everything that you've been asking for that isn't in your life yet is trying to make its way to you, but you're having to drop all the things that no longer serve you. So it's kind of like if you were going down the freeway toward, let's say you're going west, but you need to be going east. This is that turning point where you like stop, turn around, and then start going east, right? And this is really us stepping into these new timelines because of all the multi-dimensional work that's being done to shift third dimension. And then all these timeline convergences with the third dimension and the detaching of the artificial or synthetic timelines from our organic timelines is allowing us this opportunity to really fast track in our ascension process, but it's uncomfortable. So let's talk a little bit about some of the physical symptoms here in a bit. So the last couple things I want to talk about, the energetic symptoms, are you could be feeling like everything is falling apart, like life is falling apart. Nothing is the same. Everything is different. You're not in the same world anymore because you're literally not. This is part of the biggest turnover from 2020 to 2024 are some of the biggest ascension transformation years. So for the collective, this is when the collective, everybody starts really waking up and stepping into their personal power and into unity consciousness at the same time. So feeling overwhelmed is a natural symptom of this too, to where you may just want to sleep all the time, or you may feel like you want to get on your path so desperately, but you're not sure what step to take first. Like, I know I want to be of service, but I don't know where I want to be of service or how to be of service, or I know I want to be in the healing arts, but I don't know where to start. And this is something that my higher self and a lot of people's higher selves have been saying, is that if you don't know what to do, if you don't have clarity of action, then don't take action at that moment. It's a time of being. And then daydreaming is like a superpower. Daydreaming is how we imprint the timelines. So if you want to imprint your timelines, daydream, and that generates the emotions. It gives the image. It basically speaks with the fabric of reality. You're imprinting the fabric of reality with your energetic expression, right? So having no motivation or clarity to move forward means there's no forward movement at that moment. Now, sometimes this can be a scary thing, because especially if you need money or a job and you're like, okay, but I'm trying to move forward in this, but there's no progression, and I have money now, but I don't know if I'll have enough. Right there would be the opportunity to learn to surrender, because in these new grid energies, we don't have the imbalance that we've been experiencing in the really in the the divided polarity old model. So in this new grid system, we have symbiosis, we have win-win situations. So we're used to the win-lose. We're used to the sacrifice ourselves to make a little bit of money, or sacrifice our time to get a little bit of money, and then sacrifice that money to get a little bit of resources, right? That's all shifting now, because that is not based in the highest good of all. That's based in enslavement and the very good of the very few, right? So, learning to surrender and trust your inner source to guide you. Now, let's talk a moment here about divine alignment and divine timing. Everybody likes to say everything is in divine alignment. I am one of those everybody's too. I like to say that. It's all in divine alignment, it's all in divine timing. Now, yes, it is, but let's talk about what divine timing is. Divine timing doesn't have to do with somebody else determining if you're ready or not. Divine timing does have to do with vibrational readiness. So things will not come to you unless you are vibrationally ready to receive them. And that has everything to do with your consciousness. However, that being said, I want to take a moment to talk about people who are targeted, like indigos and starseeds. And divine timing, it may be that you are in divine alignment with it, but you've got interference coming in to prevent you from that alignment. The twin flames is one of these alignments that is severely messed with. So twin flames, when they come together, their power increases. They exponentiate their power. It doesn't just add up. And so these darker forces at work, these different systems of domination and control, excuse me, they will do a lot to keep you separate from your twin flame. So even though you may be in divine alignment with your twin, if there are external forces co-creating reality with you, that would be what I call like a timeline insertion, something else coming in and throwing your organic timeline off on purpose. So that is happening. So when we talk about divine timing, we need to take that into consideration as well, because a lot of people blame themselves for doing something wrong, especially the indigos and starseeds. Like, well, I suck at manifestation. No, it's actually that you don't. It's that you're probably actually really good at it. So you get a lot of interference with your manifestations. Now, that being said, I don't want to open this up to make you feel like a victim either. Like, oh, well, it's not my fault that didn't happen because these beings are working against me. While that may be true, you have to be really adaptable and be able to work around setbacks and work around things that are working against you. And when you do a lot of light shielding, those things can get through much less. So, daily light shielding, I put up the cosmic pillar meditation on my YouTube channel here so people can shield for free. Like you can listen to it, have it for free, and shield yourself. And then, add things onto it. Um, okay. Now let's get into some body symptoms of this transformation. So, this transformation that's been taking place for months, it really threw a lot of people into physical detox. So, this physical detox symptoms are headaches, nausea, flu like feelings, being really exhausted and fatigued. You can have rashes as well as your body purges a bunch of, chemicals or whatever it may be. So, anything that's in the body creates a vibrational expression, right? And then everything in your body together is your overall vibrational expression. And so when you're stepping into a higher vibrational expression, you have to drop all the things that maintained the lower expression in the first place. So a lot of that is like chemicals and toxins, and even things like mucoid plaque is a thing. It's when you have this is really gross, but it's when your digestive lining starts to get lined with undigested food and mucus, and that's called mucoid plaque, and that can cause a lot of problems in the digestive system, which everything starts in the digestive system. So all symptoms kind of come out of that, something going wrong in the digestive system. So it's really important to take good care of your digestive system, like really eating clean and healthy. So the GMOs in food, whenever you take in something genetically modified, you are genetically modifying yourself. Okay. So it's important to know that doing your best, taking, your best effort to be as natural as possible is a good idea as we shift into these new earth realities here. Because this is what I want to say. The medical system is for profit. And while there are amazing things coming out of the medical system, there's also corruption within it. And if a company or if companies only make money if you're sick, do they really want you to be well? They go out of business if you're well, or if you understand how to heal yourself, or if you can manage your own health. So think about that for a minute. When you trust sources, even with some studies show this or that. If you look into the studies, they're not unbiased studies. They're not like double-blind studies and things like that. So if you've ever taken statistics, you know about the different type of studies, and they can stack their research to make it look one way pretty darn easily. So take that into consideration. So with the flu-like symptoms, headaches, nausea, you can even have vomiting at times, and your body can go into that detox where you feel sick every few days. So when you're in a detox, you can have what's called a Herx reaction. The Herx reaction is when you're detoxing too fast and you have to slow down a bit. I tend to go, full speed ahead in things. So when I detox, if I'm sick, I'm like, I'm going to continue and just ride this out. But I don't recommend that. I'm not recommending being like that. you know your body and what you can handle. And when you go into a Herx reaction, that's when like everything's coming out at once in your body and you feel really sick. You can slow that down. Drinking a lot of water is going to be helpful, but then if you're just drinking water, you're going to be in a detox anyways. That's when when you're fasting, your body uses that as the opportunity to kick everything out. Fasting actually really needs to be a normal part of everybody's regular routine. Fasting at least once a month is a good idea. It's probably more is a better idea, but I'll leave that up to you. I'm not here to give medical advice. I'm really sharing what I do, in fact. So another thing that you can have that's a symptom of this transformation is a lot of tingling in the body. And we have different layers of our energy body coming online that help protect us. And we have what's called a plasma body. And the plasma body can create like this energetic barrier that is a really good shield for us. And it's a natural thing. And so pulling in plasma light, plasma frequencies is going to be very helpful. And it's something that is naturally happening with people as they progress along their ascension timeline. And like I said earlier, if there wasn't interference, things would be progressing along in divine timing, in divine alignment, but there is interference. So when you start on the ascension process, it's important to know that there are forces trying to shut you down and put you back to sleep. It's kind of like, I look at it this way. If you have livestock and there's some of them getting out of the pen, you address those ones trying to kick their way out of the pen or something, right? You get on top of it immediately so they don't show others, so they don't get free and get too far and get away, right? So it's kind of like that. That's how we're looked at. Now, it's important to keep going. When you start with your sovereignty process, keep going, because when you awaken, that's when these attacks can start happening. When people start to integrate their light body and activate their light codes and step into their sovereignty, that's exactly when they start getting hit with silent weapons and frequency attacks and electronic harassment and gang stalking and all kinds of different stuff like that. And it's only because you are stepping into your power. And so now these systems view you as a threat. You're not a threat. You're not. But to a system of enslavement, you may be. So that's something to consider when you get started on this work. It's like no going back. This isn't the Matrix movie where you get to decide and go back into the system. It's like you wake up and you're in it. So but all of you that are listening to this, I'm sure you want to be in this anyways. And some of you may not. Some of you, that's one of the symptoms too, feeling like you just don't want to be here anymore. You don't want to participate in this level of corruption or deception and manipulation that's going on planet Earth right now. But the fact that you're here and you're feeling that way, you're contributing to a call for change. Now, you can call in cosmic sovereign law. Cosmic sovereign law is like a law that is helping to bring in the sovereignty that is a birthright for each of us in this reality. So calling in cosmic sovereign law into every system. And I like to, when I'm working with people in sessions, some people work in pharmaceuticals or they work in corporate jobs where they feel guilty. They're like, I feel like I'm part of the problem. Well, actually, if you're in a position where you are looking at the company that you work for and you see some corruption or something like that, you are a ground crew. So you are the exact person to call in cosmic sovereign law. And that doesn't mean you have to do anything in the physical. That means that you are connecting with your highest aspect and alerting it to, here's a violation of cosmic sovereign law somewhere. I'm calling in cosmic sovereign law to this, because that's where true justice can come in. And we're dealing with a lot of injustice right now, and it is infuriating. It is something that I've had to really work on myself a lot lately, because injustice throws me out of my center. It it like makes my blood boil. I have to take action on it immediately. And with this much injustice in the world right now, and having censorship and different things like that, it's been feeling a little bit frustrating. So I had to do a lot of clearing on myself to be able to stay centered and calm and be of best service while still witnessing the injustice in the world. So some of the other symptoms that you're going to have in your body is the dietary preferences will change. You might have a lot of food reactions to food. A lot of the food's poisoned, anyways, just saying. But um, you might start having reactions to food that you could eat just fine before. And now your body is saying no. You have to honor the body. As we shift into higher and higher frequencies and these higher energies, we're going to eat less and eat really high frequency foods because that's what will match our new frequency. So anytime you put something in your body, you blend with whatever vibration that thing was. So if you're putting in like Twinkies and Doritos or something like that, you may not feel very good afterward, and your body is not going to tolerate things like that anymore. It's going to push you into having things that support it. And even with, I want to talk a moment here about the body having its own consciousness. So when you're present in the moment, that's when you unify your body and your mind and your emotions and your spiritual awareness, right? That's presence. When you're not present in the moment, you've got your body's consciousness, your mind's, your mind, your emotions, your body, and your spiritual awareness can all be going in different directions. And when you do that, that's when the physical body can like snack on something. You can see, like, if you're watching a movie, you can snack and eat a whole bag of chips or something like that while you're watching. Then you're like, whoa, where'd my chips go? So the mental body was separate from the physical body, and they each have their own consciousness. We're actually pretty complex units, complex beings. I referred to us as units. My goodness. We are. Anyways, we're complex beings with multiple different levels of awareness and different bodies. We've got, for every dimension that we exist in, and we know that's 15, we've got a layer of our aura that connects into that dimension. So, the mental, physical, emotional bodies, those are really close in our aura. And so, but they can be going in different directions at the same time. So it's important to make sure that if you're really caught up in your mind, your body can go for things that it knows that bring comfort. So comfort foods or things like that, right? Or it can eat too much of something, or you can even forget to feed it sometimes. When I get really caught up in research and connecting in with my higher self about some of this information, sometimes I forget to eat. I'm just so fully immersed in my work that I forget to eat. And so paying attention to what the body needs is going to be important, but from a place of presence. Okay. So the body doesn't snack when it's in a state of presence. It doesn't need to. It's like, I'm full. I don't need this. So, being aware when you're going in different directions is good. And that's so pulling yourself back into center. That's when you would take like 3 deep yogic breaths. So a yogic breath is when you breathe deep into your lower belly first, and then you pull it up into your chest, and then you're nice and expanded, right? And then you hold it for a second or two, and then you breathe out from your belly first, and then fully get all the air out of your lungs last, and hold it for 1 or 2 seconds, and then repeat that process. So it creates like a wave-like motion when you do that. That helps to reset the solar plexus and helps to pull you back into your center. And so what I like to do when I feel myself going off into these different spaces, I'll take a nice deep breath in. And when I do that, I pull myself into my center. And then when I exhale, I pull myself into my heart. And then I'll look around and I'll just make sure that I'm centered and present. And when you're present, that's when you're noticing the air temperature. That's when you're hearing all the sounds. That's when you're aware of how your body is feeling in the environment. That's where you're noticing the light. So you're aware of everything that's there. A lot of us just move mindlessly through our days. We're not paying attention to the details. Um, but so when you need to get back into your center, take those deep breaths, pull yourself back into your heart, and then move on with your day. So I feel like I've gone on way too long. Thank you so much for your time and for being here with me. I love you so very much. I'm so happy to be part of this journey with all of you. This is such an amazing community of awakening beings, and I'm just so pleased to be here with you. And hopefully this video loaded proper. My last ones did not. So hopefully this does, and I can get back on track with being here on YouTube with you again. And I am opening up a Rumble channel as well. Nothing's posted on it yet, but that will be for really getting into the deeper, darker subjects that, entities and mind control and different things like that I'm trying to kind of keep off of my YouTube channel a little bit. So, anyways, if you want, you can check out my website under the Home tab. I created a revocation. So, a spiritual revocation for soul contracts and such. And you can check that out. And I will be back soon with more information to share, and have a beautiful month of March, my friends. It is going to lighten up soon. So actually, we're going to see a mixed bag. We're going to see some people's lives get harder and some people's lives get easier. But generally speaking, the next 2 to 6 weeks, things are going to be lightening up a lot for many, many, many people are going to be coming out of this kind of darkness that they've been feeling, or this hibernation or holding pattern. So those energies are going to be shifting. Basically, we've been in this space so we can examine everything, like really go through all of our stuff and clear it out and then move forward. So it's almost time to really start, moving in leaps and bounds forward. So hang in there, my friends. You're doing amazing work. You really are. We're not in a dire, hopeless situation, even though in the external world it really does look that way. It's not. We're making so much progress in the unseen realms. And remember that our physical reality is a manifestation of our past thoughts and our past focus and our past vibrational expression. So, in our physical reality, we're witnessing our past, what we did. So, it's always a little bit behind what we're doing now. Okay, so, remember that. And if you look at the world and you're thinking, like, oh, this is so horrible, instead of adding to it, ask yourself, what can I do in this moment to make a difference in this world? And you can even do something like in your mind's eye and with your energetics. Give the whole entire planet a hug, like hold it in your arms and just send love to every single person that's here just because they're here. And that's you making a difference. And instead of going into a darker vibration within yourself, you then step into a space of unconditional generosity and love. And then you become that force in the collective. And that's an amazing force to be in the collective, right? So every moment you have power to shift things. Every single moment you are shifting things. Okay, your presence matters, your focus matters, your choices matter, your intentions matter, you matter. So welcome to your awakening for those of you who are newly awakening, and for those of you who have been on this ascension journey for a long time. Keep up the good work. All of you keep up the good work. You're truly doing amazing. I'll see you soon.